Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you I have a mighty game review of Duke Nukem Forever. Well, I know it's a quite old game now, but I'm giving my review of this game. I've kind of gone back to some of the older shooter games, kind of nostalgia, and I kind of always remembered how, like, literally when this game came out, it got tons of negativity towards it. And I actually played it, and I thought to myself, well, this game's not really actually all that bad. It's not as bad as they're reviewing. Well, I just recently got this game again. Got it for the PC. The first time I ever played it was on PS3. Understand that the previous Duke Nukem game that I played was Duke Nukem Land of the Babes. Yeah, I don't want to get into that fucking hot mess. But either ways, we're talking here a little bit about Duke Nukem Forever and how I feel how the game has held up over the years, and things of that nature. So let's start off with the developer is 3D Realms. The publisher is 2K Games. It was built with the Unreal Engine, which I actually think it's Unreal 2. I actually don't think it was Unreal 3, which would have been the newest engine at the time, but understand, this game was actually in development for 14 years before it was released. It started development shortly after Duke Nukem 3D, and it took 14 years to actually get a real sequel. Duke Nukem Time to Kill, and Duke Nukem, there's Duke Nukem Manhattan Project, Duke Nukem 0 Hour, as well as Land of the Babes. They're actually not, per se, real true sequels to Duke Nukem 3D. This one is actually supposed to be like the true Duke Nukem sequel to Duke Nukem 3D, which is kind of embarrassing to say the least, considering how great Duke Nukem 3D was, and even how it's still how well it holds up, just even for the perspective of nostalgia and fun factor that Duke Nukem 3D still has to it today, that this game just does not have. But let's start with the story here. 12 years after Duke Nukem saved the world from an alien invasion, they are back for more. I'll just keep it short and simple. I'm sure by this point most people know what the plot is. It's just kind of there to remind you. And now I'll dive into what I liked and what I disliked about the game. The graphics really aren't bad, and they actually still hold up fairly well. This game was released in 2011. Mid-2011 for Windows, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and Mac OS. I forgot to point that out there. I feel the sounds are actually pretty damn good still, considering, you know, it's been over 10 years. Well, it's been 10 years, give or take, and it still sounds pretty good. The pistol in this game isn't bad. The only reason I'm bringing that up is because most first-person shooter games, the pistol is just horrible. Now, there's an alien blaster in the game, and that gun is a piece of shit. But not the pistol. For a first-person shooter of this type, the gunplay is decent. It still has the typical Duke Nukem one-liners, and it's got awesome action at times. And the reason I say at times is because you have these points, and sometimes they're really long points of actually nothing going on. It's more or less like a corridor arena type shooter. You're going down a corridor, going from point A to point B, which point A may be your first arena. You're going down a corridor to point B, which is where your second arena is, and essentially your arenas is where your fighting is. And you're just traveling from arena to arena to arena in the different various stages and getting through them. And there's typically a boss fight or a really big ass battle at arena at the end of the stages, and that's really it. The pacing, that's my biggest beef with this game is the pacing is just horrid. You have moments of just absolutely nothing going on. They have this system in the game called Ego. It's basically a regenerative health, which is just absolutely crap because you kind of only can guess how many hits you can really take without dying compared to an actual real hit point type system or health percentage type system that you can get yourself acquired to. And honestly, I never liked the regenerating health system. I know COD does it, and I never really liked it even when COD went to it. That's always been one turn off of games with me. For the most part, I've just kind of grown accustomed to it. But when it comes to this one, especially going back to a regenerative health system, which I have not played a game in years that uses regenerative health system, and then going back to it, it just kind of reminded me how horrid a regenerating health system is, which is what the ego is. When it was released, it had a limit of 2 carry weapons, and you really can't carry much ammo. It's not like Duke Nukem 3D where you could carry all the weapons and a ton of ammo for them. You could only carry 2, and the ammo is actually really limited. Like Duke Nukem 3D, the Devastator could carry 99 rounds, and now it can only carry 69 rounds, which, come on, that's a pun in itself. Grow up. Now, later patches, they would bring it up to 4, but you got to go in your options and turn that off. But the limiting ammo still just sucks horribly. And actually, when I first tried playing this again, I tried to do it with the 2 weapon limit, and I just could not freaking drive myself to do it. It'd be nothing to be in the middle of a firefight, have to stop my firefight just to scrounge down for any fucking ammo I could find, and it sucks. And it hurts the pacing even more to this game that's actually already got really bad pacing. I've already complained about the regenerating health. Most weapons are actually lackluster, like even the Ripper here. The Duke Nukem 3D Ripper was actually pretty good. I really wasn't crazy about the sound to it in Duke Nukem 3D, but it was an effective weapon. Here in Forever, it doesn't sound good, and its accuracy is just horrid. It's actually not a very good weapon, but I end up typically carrying the damn thing through most of the game. So that really goes to show how bad the weapon options here are in Duke Nukem Forever. There is NVG, I guess you could say his goggles, his glasses have like built-in night vision, and the night vision is blue light instead of green light. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with blue light. Escape from Tarkov, some of the night vision goggles in that are blue light. It's not bad. I prefer green light myself because it just looks better. The green light looks better. The problem here is, though, with Duke Nukem, unlike real life, is there's a lot of projectiles, like the alien blaster, the alien laser, shoots blue projectiles. And then you have the freeze ray, which you can see the freeze beam coming out of the freeze ray. But when you actually freeze something with the freeze ray, you can't fucking tell that they're even frozen because of the damn blue light night vision, if you have the blue light night vision on. So blue light vision is horrid. The other problem with blue light night vision is when you see light with night vision in general, it can get really blinding and hurt the eyes. But with the blue light night vision, when you do actually have light, which there's a stage where you need to use night vision, it's in an alien hive and you have to push around these balls, which essentially act as keys. The problem is when you approach the balls and you have your blue light night vision on, for some odd reason, it completely whites out your night vision. And it literally, after so many times of it happening, I actually started getting a headache. So that experience just fucking sucked. You have actually executions in this, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. The executions are kind of cool. They could have been better, but I guess for the time they work, and consider the fact that those would actually, like Doom 2016, would actually do the executions as well. Actually, surprisingly, you could say Doom 2016 took a lot of notes actually from Duke Nukem Forever. the problem is you take damage during the executions, and they're kind of long at times. Duke Nukem's movement speed is quite slow for being a first-person shooter. That's not a major gripe. It's just kind of like one of those things of, well, it'd be nice if you would move faster. You know, basically the only way you can really move, the only time it's really your movement speed is worth a shit is when you're actually sprinting, but you can't shoot while you're sprinting. So it's just awful movement speed in general, especially when it comes to walking. Way too much level padding is another thing. There's just so many stupid little things you have to do that's just level padding. Constantly level padding. And more of that shit that it just ruins the pacing of the game. Some character models are lackluster. Not all of them, but quite a few of them are. I guess you could say that's given to the time. I didn't really have a benchmark of other games from the time. I didn't really feel like setting them on PS3. But if I recall, Deadpool for the PlayStation 3 also came out around the same time, and Deadpool actually had some pretty good character design all generally around, and just good character physics, facial animations, etc. The driving is absolutely horrid in this, and the shrink platforming levels are just complete trash. That's pretty much what I have to say about Duke Nukem. It's a Duke Nukem Forever. It's not real good in Duke Nukem's favor. It's a very mediocre shooter. There's so many things that, like, there's those things that they did right, and then there's just those things that just shouts like, oh my god, why did you guys even think this was a good idea? Or why did you even do it at all? Why didn't you just do it a little bit better? Things of that nature. Either way, that being said, it was in development for 14 years. And I see why people are complaining about it now. I mean, I haven't played Duke Nukem in forever, probably like, I want to say 15 years. Probably closer to 20 years, maybe even longer, was the last time I played Duke Nukem Land of the Babes, which, as I said, was, it's definitely the worst Duke Nukem game. So there is still a worse Duke Nukem game out there than this, and this probably isn't even the second worst Duke Nukem game. With that being said, because, well, they did a Duke Nukem 3D port to Nintendo Advance, and trust me, that's horrid in itself. But that being said, it is still actually available on Steam. The base game is $20. The collection is $40, which comes with the 2 DLCs. Each DLC is $10, so you're not saving anything by buying the collection. I am not going to talk about the one DLC. The one DLC is nothing but a multiplayer DLC, so it's absolutely worthless for you. The other DLC is the I think the Doctor Who cloned me. I have not gotten to try it out yet, so I'm not going to weigh too much an opinion of it. I did watch some gameplay footage of it, and from what I can see, there's a lot of people who talk. I see for reviews, they talked highly about the Doctor Who cloned me, and what it looked like to me is it's really the same very mediocre Duke Nukem game. The thing is the pacing is a lot better because they're trying to cram in essentially the same amount of stuff in a 3-hour period instead of trying to pad out a 3-hour game into an 8-hour game, which is what they did with the core game. Either ways, that being said, I really could not recommend this game. I mean, even if you wanted to get the base game and just the one DLC, which, like I said, only one DLC is playable because the online servers aren't online anymore, aren't usable anymore. It's not even, that's still $30. I would not recommend this game for $30. Now, if you could get the base game and like the Doctor Who cloned me for like $10 or $15, that's about the only way I'd recommend getting this. And generally speaking, I would actually avoid this game. It is just a very mediocre first-person shooter game. There's better first-person shooter games out there that's around the same price or cheaper. But anyway, folks, that is my review of Duke Nukem Forever. I feel kind of bad now saying about how I actually thought this was good back when it came out. And then looking back at it now, I think it's because Duke Nukem Land of the Babes was so horrid that made this game look good. And then before I did this review, I went back and played Duke Nukem 3D, and then I jumped right into this, and I realized how bad DNF is. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully I'll see you again for my next video.